Patience and perseverance. That's what I live by. It's waiting out a lot of storms. I mean, I've had more downs than ups, I'd say. And I'm just pretty good at waiting them out and then striking when it gets better. And if you can't get the better times, you got to persevere. You got to get up and make it happen.
I'm excited for everyone to hear this show, not only because today's guest has an amazing success story of persistence, hard work, positivity, and overcoming immense adversity, but also because he is one of my good friends that I admire for his dedication to following his dreams, as well as I have had a front row seat to see his entrepreneurial journey that has had more twisting and turning hard miles than the thousands of miles he has driven from festival to festival selling his popular and unique coastal design t-shirts. Listen close because Scuba Steve has a lot of business success and life lessons to teach us today. Hey, Steve, explain to the listener exactly what it is that you do and what your company does.
I make coastal design t-shirts and sell it to the masses on the Gulf Coast and beyond, and sell it online and as well as in person at festivals.
How long have you been the owner and creator of Scuba Steve Clothing Company?
I founded it in 2008. I was still in college, and I used to go, back when Katrina hit, USM Gulf Coast was put into trailers. So I would find an abandoned trailer with internet, and I would get on my laptop and I would find just how to make a brand, how to get logos made, how to trademark them, and all that good stuff. So I had the nickname since I was a kid, and I ran with that. You had all these job fairs at school they wanted me to go to, and nothing interested me. And they're like, well, what do you do? And I was like, well, I work at SF Allman. So SF Allman was basically my college and family who took me in. It's a clothing store in Gulfport, Mississippi. They're a specialty clothier. They've been there since 1984. And they taught me how to create a family within a business. So the only thing I know to do is my passion is clothing and shoes. I can't make shoes, but let's try to make a polo men's business. And it was a big failure in 2008, but it was a lot of planning. It was a special time. It had a special feeling to it. I can't lie. Even though it was a failure, it felt so special. What I was doing in those abandoned Katrina trailers, it was cool.
I think that what people have to understand is that you single-handedly created something, right?
Yeah, by myself. Yeah. And I didn't tell anyone because I've seen a lot of people tell people stuff, and you get shot down. There's a lot of dream killers out there. There's a lot of people that probably had a great idea that could have followed through, but they told someone and they wanted their honest opinion, and they probably got shot down and they stopped that dream. And if they would have just not asked anyone, they probably would have succeeded. And I didn't ask anyone. No one knew I was doing this. As you know, I have a close circle from high school, and no one knew. I didn't want my confidence to get killed before I started. So I didn't even tell work. I mean, I worked every day at Almonds, and then I would go to night class. I would just sneak off in these trailers and just have a notepad, and I would have my laptop, and I would just figure out how to get this off the ground, because it was going to be a manufacturing process of me making men's polos. It was never t-shirts. It was like a Ralph Lauren.
I remember that. It was, you were making knit collared shirts.
It was never t-shirt from China, custom made. Label sewn in. I mean, it was really professional. But the problem is, it took 4 months for these polos to come in, and I'm just very naive at 23. I think it's just going to go crazy, and I'm already planning out like my house in Beverly Hills and all this stuff, and me and Kanye and Pharrell hanging out. We had the same car, but the reality of it is these polos came in and they shrank like 5 sizes. So I'm selling them in the back of marketing class at USM, and they're just like, dude, we love you, but have you washed yours yet? And I was like, no, I just wear a new one every day. I've got 2,000 of them. And they shrank into baby size. And I went to, which is stupid, I went to the Lyman Elementary dumpster and I threw them all away. I was crying because it was the last of my student loan money that I had. And this was supposed to launch me and take me to Beverly Hills. So now I'm in Lyman and I'm crying at a dumpster, throwing these polos away. But I wish I would have kept them. I kept one of each of my size.
So I remember for a fact, like I was probably 20 or 21. And this is back before you even had the kiosk in Edgewater Mall. I mean, we're talking trunk selling days, right?
Yeah, trunk was 09. Yeah.
I still think that from that, just having you're a young guy and just having, I want to create a
Right.
clothing company. And that was just, did that come from
Yeah.
you working at Almonds, SF Almond, and you just knowing a little bit about clothing, or why clothing?
I was 24. So I grew up on the most magical street called Rosewood Street in Northwood Hills in Gulfport. And it was like the perfect kids. It was the perfect scene. It was the perfect everything. It was a perfect neighborhood. It was the fashion was like it was Tommy Hilfiger. It was Polo coming on the scene. It was mid 90s. The music was incredible. And my life is based off that moment. And so I used to sit in my room and look at this Tommy stuff and this, Polo stuff. And I didn't know about almonds at this time, but I would, beg my grandma to take me to Gaffer's, which is now Dillard's. And I would just look and just dream and be like, I can do this one day. I want to be these people, whoever this Tommy Hilfiger guy is. I mean, he was very new. So I just wanted to be this guy. So in my bedroom, I would dream of these things like I'm going to have to do whatever it takes if I'm going to take that step. And as I got older, a lot of things happened in my family, and I lived with my mom. At 18, I moved in with her from my dad's house, and my circumstances changed to where I wasn't going off to college. Mom was like, you got to get a job. And so I got a job at Abercrombie on the spot, and I thought that was going to be really cool.
I remember the music was so loud in there.
The music, the cologne was incredible. But anyways, I was excited, but I wasn't buff or anything. I was like 100 pounds. But so I went to Almonds after, and I used to go in there and dream. I couldn't afford anything. We were really poor. So I went in there and I would look around, and David stopped me that day, the manager, and he said, "Man, why don't you work here?" And I said, "Man, I just got hired at Abercrombie." He said, "Yeah, anyways, why don't you work here?" And I said, okay. So anyways, you start tomorrow. So the next day, I don't have any nice clothes really. And they kind of helped me out with clothes. And I was 19 years old. And Farrell took me over to the tie counter on the left side. And he said, listen, we'll try you out. If retail agrees with you, then we'll keep you around. And I just remember that sticking with me. I was like, damn, I hope retail sticks with me or works with me. But or works for me. So I gave it a go. And this turned out to be my family. I met you. You became my family. Your family became my family. It was a special, God pivotal moment in this time. And it took me to a new family. Like y'all, your parent, I'd come to your house and I just felt at home. And I felt at home at their house and at work. And so for the next 6 years working there, I had this family. I was going to night class after I'd worked a full day shift. So I would learn the business like from a distance. I would, watch. They didn't know I was watching.
Yeah.
I could really they thought I was just like this wild kid, which I probably was. But I was watching what they were doing. I was watching the marketing. I was watching the relationships they built with customers. And I was thinking, man, this is me. Like all I have to do, I treat it like high school. Like high school, everyone knew me. I love people. So that's the secret ingredient that I had to, put in this brand. How I got there, I didn't know how to get there, but I would say, and it's no disrespect to JD or USM, I was there forever, but I graduated in 6 years. I was the first, person in my family to get a bachelor's degree. So the thing is, I was like, why not take this risk? Why not? You got the nickname you had when you were ninth grade, and so I took a leap. I took a student loan, took a leap. And of course, the polos were quite a failure. And, but that's okay. I just kept going like everything in life. You just persevere and you keep going. But no disrespect to the colleges, but SF Allman was my college.
Yeah. And you were learning, you were sitting and watching somebody who knows
God
how to do it.
Definitely took me from Abercrombie where I was pumped, like I'm going to be working with all these hot girls. And then it was like, David shooting that dream down, and he said, and it worked out perfectly. I mean, they're still family to this day. Like I call my dad just passed away. So I call Mr. Farrell for advice. He's got the burden of being my dad now. So it's like, hey, what do you do here? I thought of him that way back then.
Yeah, I kind of have the same thing going on, Steve.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I loved your dad so much.
But I do think that knowing you as long as I've known you, there is one thing about you that I will say has been 100% consistent. And that is the immeasurable level of positivity that you have with everything that you do. Not just that, is that you lift other people up around you too, right?
That's my job. Yeah.
I think that, whenever your people are buying your clothing and buying your shirts and your new designs that come out, I think that a lot of what they're doing is they're buying you, right?
They are. So I'm the brand.
And the fact that you were talking about watching Mr. Farrell and, and Miss Rose and everybody and David and everybody in that store, like it is like a social type atmosphere in there.
It is first name basis.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of talking.
We know what's going on in your life.
Yes.
That's what my business is.
Yeah.
So if you came to a Peter Anderson festival and you sat there, my best friend, like Tan, he's still shocked. He's like, how do you know all these names and like what happened to them a year ago? Like, how do you remember, or 5 years ago, or where you met them at the mall 12 years ago? But that's just, I love people. And, the focus, oddly enough, is never on money when I'm there. Like I do stress before the festival. I'm like, oh my God, all these festivals. I'm like, man, I got to do this well to break even or whatever, because I buy so much inventory. But man, when I get there and get in motion, it's the love and passion of the people, which is, honest to God, it sounds cheap. It's so real though, because afterwards I'm like, whoa, I did really well. But I'm never thinking about money when it hits like go time. It's like a social gathering. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. And the energy I get from it. A friend of mine told me last night, he's like, it's amazing. Like you deal with depression, like worse than anybody knows. No one knows behind the scenes. And you deal with the anxiety where you feel like you're going to die every day for 24 years. So he said, no one knows this. And he says, Steve, you treat people, you make people feel really good. Yes. And you feed off the energy. And I was like, but they don't realize I feed off of their energy. Like when my dad died Friday night, before Crab Fest was over, I had one more day to go. My brother called me crying, and he was like, you got to get to New Orleans. And I was crying, and I was like, well, the reality of it, he's going to be in the morgue, so I can't see him. Just come home. I need to work tomorrow because I need the energy of my customers. Because they're like family to me. I can go home and look at the wall and cry. I'd rather be here. And he would rather me be here and feed off the energy of my customers, which was, God, it was amazing. It was healing for me quite a bit. It was the best medicine that I needed at the time.
Yeah, man. And you've been that way. Every time I see you, it's not as much lately, but I ran into you a couple of weeks ago. I mean, and every time I see you is the exact same. It's like we pick right back up where we left off.
Yeah. I'm the same person. You're the same person. Yeah.
And it was always that way when I would come into SF Almond and you were in there. And whenever you started this company, I think that's another reason why whenever you started this company, everybody was so excited about it, just because it's you, right? It's like we now have something that we can root for you on, because that would be the same thing you would do for us.
For sure, no doubt. And the flip side of it, I mean, when I started out, it was a lot of pushback. It was like, who do you think you are to, who are you to start this? And there was a lot of that, which I was very shocked and I was really saddened by. And those same people had to come back and buy tank tops for their girlfriends 2 years later, which I really enjoyed. But I got after it and I never gave up. I sat there, I sat in the mall for 1,100 days in a row. And that's no joke. And people that try to compete with me, they were like, I could never sit here that long. 9 to 9, there's no way. So I missed 3 years with my family and some change and my friends. And then I hit the festival circuit, which, is not as grueling, and it's the same traffic. I get to see people. So now that I have a following, they come in, wherever I'm at. If I'm in Wiggins, Poplarville, wherever. And that's expanded me as well, like Picayune and all that good stuff. They know who I was, and I'm there, and it's amazing. I have families all over.
What's the status of the company now, Steve? You have an online shop, correct?
I have an online shop, shopscubasteve.com. Man, it's very laid back as I am. I never try to really sell anything. I'm an awful salesman. I've made it 14 years. I don't try to sell anything. It's usually just conversation. So someone told me the other day, like, if you really tried, you would do really well, but you already do really well, but you don't try. It's just people, man. I love people. I love the festivals. Online's not the same because I don't get to touch them. I don't get to hug them. I don't get to ask how their grandparents are doing
Yeah.
or
It's a different,
whatever
it's
happened.
more of a business transaction.
And the personal touch is incredible. So, but yeah, online's good, sometimes when I push it, but I just like the personal, so I'm looking forward to the next, Peter Anderson 2 months.
Yeah, that's right. Peter Anderson's the next one, right?
Man, yeah, the first week in November. So I love that one. I love Christmas City. And then it gets kind of dicey after that. This year, I like to figure out like a pop-up shop, but I don't know how to go about that yet because it usually cuts off for me mid-November, and I'm missing out on a lot of stuff.
Well, you've come a long way since then, man.
I'm thankful. I have. It's perseverance. It's a lot of patience. It's waiting out a lot of storms. I mean, I've had more downs than ups, I'd say, and I'm just pretty good at waiting them out and then striking when it gets better.
Steve, you've always had that mindset of if I think positively, if I'm good to people, if I just put that out into the world, it's going to return back to me. And I think that
eventually,
yeah. And I think you're right on the money, man. I think you're right on the money with that because, if you're good to people, one of those people that you've been good to, you're going to be down and you're going to be like in the gutter or something. And one of those people you were good to is going to walk by and be like, hey, I know you. And it's going to change like that.
I mean, I'll say this, 2008 was the polo thing, school thing, awful, fail. 2009 was me getting in my Tahoe and driving to every college town fathomable in Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. I got humiliated beyond in front of the most beautiful girls ever. And, I'm young and my face is beet red and I just got humiliated. And so that was a fail. Car gets repossessed. And then 2010, I get a call from the mall and I'm like, oh yeah, Dillard's heard about me. I'm about to go national. And they were like, nah, you want to try a kiosk? And I was like, I really don't. But it was $800 a month at the time. And I said, I have negative $350 in my checking account. I have about 20 shirts. I have a few hats. And he said, just pay me at the end of the month. So the plan was to really just probably run out the side door after 31 days.
Yeah, like right when you see them walking towards you, say, excuse me,
definitely not paying.
I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
We're not paying any rent. No, we're getting out. So that was the plan.
How long were you at the mall for?
1,100 days in a row. Never missed a day. The worst days, the best days, it took a while to pop, but when it went and it went wild and changed my life. And I remember getting, one of the Allen boys to deliver me a car because I was like, I can finally afford a car. So they brought me a car to the mall, a 4Runner, and I was so pumped. I thought I was just like,
that's awesome, man.
Daddy. Yeah. 2013, everything fell apart. I was desperate. This is coming off 3 years of highs, and here I am in the gutter. So I go to Orlando to a trade show, and I come down the escalator, and I see Hurley and Life is Good and Costa Del Mar, and I walk up, and they're building stores. They have contractors, and one guy was like, "Who's your contractor?" And I was like, "I just got a table and like 6 shirts." So that was a failure of 3 days of just sitting there, just grueling, waste of the last $5,000 I had.
Did you learn anything though, Steve?
I learned not to do it again unless you have money. But no, I sat and looked around and I was like, all right, these are national brands. I'm Steve from Lyman. I just have a table, and this is not what they're looking for. It's presentation, and no one knows who I am. So left that and went downtown and got a store. That didn't go well at all. I was just severely depressed. I mean, my dog died, and then I'm going broke. My dog was my best friend for 13 years, and this is a terrible time. And then this guy that owned a barbecue truck came in and was like, "Man, you need people." And I was like, "Yeah, they're not here." He said, "What if you start doing festivals?" So I said, okay. It's kind of like the kiosk thing. I was like, But so I did it, and it created back the brand to bigger than it was because I was hitting more cities and reaching more people that didn't know about me before. And I got to, put my personality out there and talk to people. So it was really incredible pivot. And I got cancer, I had 6 months to live. A year after that,
Yeah, don't gloss over that, Steve. I remember when I found out
Yeah.
that you were sick, and I think I was talking with Lil Farrell, and that was a big deal. So,
Mhm.
explain to me what kind of cancer was it, and how long did your recovery take?
So it was stage 3 colorectal cancer. I was misdiagnosed for a year as for a hemorrhoid. And so once, 2015, I did a Wiggins festival and I was hurting so bad on the backside that I couldn't stand it. We got to Waveland at the St. Clair Fest in May. I picked up a box and just a lightning bolt shot through my abdomen. And so this is constant pain, both sides. So my goal was to make it through, I think, 5 more festivals. And I was like, all right, then I'll turn myself into the doctor. So I got through Crab Fest, which was the last one. I had dropped like 100 pounds. Everyone was like, please go to the doctor. You look awful. You're crying. You're hurting so bad. So I went to the doctor. They did a colonoscopy, and then you wake up to, cancers everywhere. And friends I have that don't cry were crying.
Yeah,
And
it was a big deal, dude.
so
That was
so my mind turned into like fight mode. It wasn't like, sad or scary. It was like, all right, who can fix me? Who can save me? I'd never take, like my dad, when we were in the hospital a month ago, I was like, who can fix him? Who can do it? Come on, let's go. Positivity. Let's go. Let's go. And so that's how I was. And we went to New Orleans and they're like, nah, you got about 6 months to live. So I came home and shut down my store. I went home to die, and I met this lady named Dr. Wall, and she saved my life. She's very positive, and we jive together with the
how
positivity.
did
And
you know, Steve, whenever you met her for the first time, how did you know that, like, did she give you like some hope?
well, see, no one in New Orleans gave me hope, and no one, here. But so we went and we all my best friends, we packed into this small room on Cedar Lake, and she said, "I'm gonna save you. God's gonna save you." And I said, "Done. It's the best thing I've heard. Let's go." And she's like, "You're gonna grow through it, though." And I was like, "Let's do it. What choice do I have?" So I went through things to where I fried my lower half of my body, and it's every man's worst nightmare. And I had to sit in a room naked for 3 months to watch my skin grow back. And I couldn't walk. My feet were destroyed, so I couldn't walk at all. My hands were destroyed. So everything I needed to use, I couldn't use I couldn't walk or grab anything,
Yeah,
or I was in bad shape,
yeah,
man.
you were.
And I healed on Christmas Eve, 2015. And I went to everybody's house. I was just so excited to drive. It had been like 6, 7 months. And then I went to the big surgery February of 2016, where they took out all my, body, all my organs, and went to the back, got the tumor, got the cancer. And I woke up like a truck had hit me. It was the most pain
Jesus,
possible.
man, I
And
can imagine.
it was unbearable. 50 out of 10 pain for 11 days in a row. No food, no water. I wasn't allowed any of that.
They just had you on an IV drip.
That's it, man. So I had to sneak into like the bathroom, and God, to get to the bathroom was just so painful, because you don't realize how much you use your stomach until you like cough, or
Yeah,
I had the hiccups so bad and I was just dying. And but my best friends were amazing. They were all beside me. They all helped me. I would sneak in the bathroom and just like drink some water out of the faucet. I know I wasn't supposed to, but I was just so thirsty. It was so weird not to eat or drink.
you had to do something to make yourself feel normal, Steve.
Right. And so you're looking down at your body, and you've got cuts everywhere, and you've got your intestines sticking out of your body. You've got a colostomy bag where your waste empties into the bag, and you're wondering like, what the heck is this? And it was just mind blowing.
Steve, how old were you?
I was 31. So that's why I was overlooked, because I was so young.
Yeah, but still, man,
Um,
being a 31-year-old, how old are you now, Steve?
I'm 38 now.
A 31-year-old, and you put something like that. Normally, it's either going to do one or two things. And I've seen it go both ways. Is that it either breaks that person, like
Yeah,
mentally, emotionally,
sure.
spiritually, it breaks them, or it
Uh,
galvanizes how strong they are.
mm,
I think it was the latter, man. It was because, and you've always had that group of friends, like you keep bringing out, like Tan and Carrie
for
and all those,
sure.
and Sweet
Brad.
Steve
Yeah.
and everybody. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those guys, they stuck it out with you, man. And I think that if you have people who are interested, not just to be interested to show like a social norm, but people who are interested because they care about the person, That's the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
And you've
Yeah.
had that.
I'm super lucky, man. I'll tell you one night, like Tam was sleeping on the left of me. The first night of my surgery, I'm miserable. And Tam's sleeping on the left on the floor. Carrie's on the right on the floor. My nurse came in and I was half awake, and her and a group of nurses peeked in and just started crying. And I remember her saying, if I ever get sick, I hope my friends protect me like
Yeah.
this. So it was super special,
It
man.
is. It is, man.
So I love them to death. I'm the emotional one. So I'm they're just like, get away. I'm like, give me a hug. I love you. So I do love them more than words. And I started chemo right after that. So that was hell. And then I did 6 months of that. And then 2017 in January, I got the bag reversed. That was a painful surgery-ish. I refused pain meds because I didn't want it to stop my system. So I was able to get out. And then you got to learn how to use the bathroom all over again. And you got to reteach your body. And it was freaking crazy. But we did it. And I have really bad days. I have really good days. And after that surgery, I hit the ground running on festivals again. I never stopped working. Even when I was really sick, I just kept putting stuff online and just shipping stuff myself. I was working my butt off because I knew once I got better, I wanted to live a really good life. And thank God I have the most amazing life. I still have depression, anxiety. I feel like I'm gonna die every day, which is probably why I take the most risks that I do on, stuff.
So are you still doing the 1-for-1?
So after I had cancer, I stopped doing that because my cancer bills are like millions of
Got
dollars.
it.
Before, yes, it was based on homeless. It would break my heart, and people would beg me to stop giving. I used to go buy meals for the homeless downtown Gulfport, and I remember some friends of mine that own a really big business down there, were like, "Please stop," because they were all like camped out looking for Steve to bring a combo meal. So we had to cut that short. I hated it. When I started my business, it was a 1-for-1. It was I give one to the Back Bay Mission homeless shelter, and then for every shirt I sell, and that was a big deal.
Yes.
They were so appreciative. Is the most amazing place, the Back Bay Mission. They're off Division Street. They're incredible, the work they do. I had a store downtown in Gulfport, I'd say after the mall, for a short time before I got sick, and I would give homeless people clothes. It's just so rampant downtown Gulfport, so I would try to help out. Most people didn't want help, but a lot of people were appreciative of the love the most.
Well, when you developed your business plan or your mindset behind it, it always was based off of helping others, right?
Yeah, I just want to help somebody. Yeah. And I do stuff that I don't tell anybody about nowadays because I don't want the attention or.
That's how my dad was, dude. The best way to be is you do good things for people because it's the right thing to do. You don't do it because you want people to look and say, "Oh, look at what he's doing. He's a good guy."
Yeah, well, no, I don't want, I've been through it. We lived it. I was born, in a place that was pretty low income, and yeah, crazy time.
Well, Steve, let me ask you a question, man. Going through this business, through the cancer, through the ups and downs, the failures, what's the best business advice that anyone's ever given you?
Well, I had to learn it the hard way. Basically, it's, wait the storms out. And then when you get your chance to strike, when things get better, strike as hard as you can. Don't let it go. Bottle up that magic in the time. I mean, you're going to go through the highs and the lows, but there's just one point where it gets better and you have to seize on that moment. And I've been lucky to take advantage of those moments and make it happen after some dark times. And, it's probably watching the almonds, like the slow seasons and all that, learning the wave of everything.
Yeah, because there is a season, right? I mean, as far as a season is concerned, how many festivals are you doing per year now?
So February to July, I'm gone. And then I'm down until November. And then I've got, 2 in November, 2 huge ones. And then it's kind of iffy after that. It's a lot of online stuff I push, but yeah, I go hard at it. It's gotten bigger now. It's like 2 spots, so my friends have to help now, and they're not so excited, but I think they are. But I can't do it by myself anymore. I don't have the energy, so all this has made me very tired, and I'm working on that. Me and Ollie, my dog, we walk every night. So,
as out of all your products, what's your best selling, or what's the one product that you've sold the most of?
Jeep shirts. Jeep shirts are like, man, the Jeep phenomenon is insane. I did Jeep in the Coast this year. I missed 3 years because of COVID, or 2 years, and I could not believe how big it was. It was absolutely insane. And that's the most I probably ever sold of one shirt.
Really?
To the point you're sold out at 10 a.m. So you got to call your printer and beg them. Like, I don't care what color of shirts we got down there, just throw a Jeep on it. Like, throw that design on it and bring it.
Where are you getting your shirts made now?
Southern Printing. They're amazing. It's a family business. It's a bunch of brothers. They kill it. They're amazing. I've been with them for 10 years now. So
that's awesome, Steve.
Super thank. Yeah, they go above and beyond for me when I was sick and now, and yeah, couldn't do without them.
That's just another aspect of like how people don't need to kind of understand that if you go into the business world, whether it's selling t-shirts, soft drinks, cars, whatever, if you go into it with the mindset that I just want to make money,
probably not going to work.
No, you're going to miss out on the best part of it, which is dealing with the people you get to deal with.
And even if it did work out for you, yeah, you're missing out on, that's the biggest high I can get. It gives me this feeling that I can never duplicate. The business and the people. It really is something special. And I love it so much. And my friends are like, man, you're in your element when you're doing this. You hate the setup, you hate the takedown, but in the middle of it, it just gives you so much life and energy and that you can't get from nowhere else.
That is true. That is true, man. Special, and I've always been a fan of yours, man, and I've always been rooting for you.
I'm a fan of you, brother.
And if someone said, hey, what are the words that you live by? What would that be?
Patience and perseverance. That's what I live by. Anything you go through, you got to sit it out, wait for the better times. And if you can't get the better times, you got to persevere. You got to get up and make it happen. So that's what I do. That's what I did through cancer. That's what I did through business. Anxiety, I wish I could say the same. Depression, definitely the same. Anxiety is just something that I can't control. I feel like I'm going to die every day for 24 years. So we haven't figured that out. But everything else that I go through is, the patience and perseverance and determination. And I'm going to make it happen. I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I can do anything if I put my mind to it, because I'm not the smartest guy, but I've got the most heart and the most, the work ethic is crazy. So,
well, where can everybody go for those of you that haven't ever seen any of his clothing and haven't seen any of your apparel, what's the best place for people to buy some of your clothing?
Yeah, go to shopscubasteve.com. Yeah, I ship it myself, me and my dog. So that's it. Me and Ollie's sleeping right now, so he's not helping much. But yeah, that's where to get it. And I'm very appreciative of everyone. It's amazing. Thank you for having me on this.
Hey, listen, man.
I'm so proud of you, man. I remember your dad started you off like the bottom, and I never got that. Now I get it.
It's one of those things.
He made you learn the business upside down, backwards, and outside. And
I'll be honest, Steve, as a teenager, I was forced to do a lot of things that teenage kids wouldn't necessarily like to do.
I remember.
And, putting a 16 and 17-year-old kid on a route truck and you're thinking, you know what, there's got to be an easier way. It's got to be a better way. And to be honest with you, it's the best way, because
he knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
And as kids, we're like, why can't he just be president right now?
Yeah, absolutely. People who are in positions of, I wouldn't necessarily say power, but in positions of influence within a company where you're in charge of a large group of people, if you've done every single job in that company, it's a little bit easier to put yourself in the mindset of the people who work for you, right?
Right. And, I mean, you've been there, you've done it. I remember when you did it. I remember you did the lowest level of everything. So,
yeah,
that's what, almost 20 years ago next year. And you've done it, man, you and your sister. And it's just in Darby. It's just amazing, man. I love to see it. I love to see the family and the baton get passed and to the right people who have done the necessary work to go to the next level.
That's right.
Obviously, what y'all are doing, the younger generation, with the podcasts and advertisements, y'all are taking it to the next level.
Trying to, Steve.
As the new generation of Allens, you are. So it's amazing. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Steve. I'm proud of you too, man. So your next festival will be
Maybe Peter Anderson. Yeah, it's going to be a big thing. I'm going to have 2 spots. I'm excited. I really can't wait. But time's flying by, so it's going to be here before we know it, and I'm ready.
Well,
man.
Steve, if there's anything I can ever do for you professionally or socially or friendship wise, you just hit me up. You have my cell number. You call me. Even if you want to just have a chat. I've known you for 2 decades and a lot's happened in those 20 years, but I couldn't be prouder of you and how well you're doing.
I've got your back for life. Always have, always will. I just love you and your family so much. And
Thank
I'm
you,
just
Steve.
so proud. So proud.
Thank you, man. And you've recorded a podcast.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
All right, Steve. Scuba Steve Johnson is one heck of a businessman, graphic artist, good friend, and an inspiration to us all. After surviving his lack of fashion experience when getting started, huge business disasters, bad luck, and then having to battle colon cancer, Scuba Steve has fought through all of these major obstacles and setbacks and is now as strong and positive as ever in his life and business. What a story and local businessman to know. Go check out Scuba Steve and all of his great t-shirts at shopscubasteve.com or look for him at one of his many music, art, and community festivals on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Thanks again for listening, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to the Bottled Up Podcast. Want us to deliver this show into your email inbox as they drop? Want to tell us about how you like the show? Or you want to tell us about a Gulf Coast restaurant or bar you would like us to spotlight in upcoming episodes? Email Morgan at mwheeler, WHEELER, at abevinc.com. That's ABEVINC.com. Want to know more about Allen Beverages and how we work with our clients, partners, and vendors? Check out allenbeverages.com. This show was edited and produced by Johnny Gwynn and Deep Fried Studios.